Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we're back at it, ready to have a little bit of fun. So, one of my patrons reached out and he was like, "Hey, Judge, I don't like spending a ton of money on whiskey. Honestly, $75 is my cap, right? Prices of bourbon is rising. $75 is my max. What should I be looking for that I might not be looking for this day and age?" So, I'm going to go ahead and give a couple of examples of things, of 5 different whiskeys, in my opinion, that you should be looking for. And of course, I will go ahead and end it with a nice little asterisk. Cool? All right. So before we do that, though, let's go into some housekeeping things. So speaking of patrons, I want to give a huge shout out to my newest patrons, my good friend David 13.1, John Huntley, John from Delaware as well, a Delaware native, Matt Howard, and last but not least, Winslow Sowards. Thank you very much for each and every one of you, as well as, for David, John, Matt, and Winslow, as well as for all my patrons. We honestly, like I said, we always have a blast between Discord, our contest, whenever we do barrel picks. My goal is to always bring, hopefully at least a good, number of my patrons with me. So we always have fun. So I appreciate the support and the love. And so David, John, Matt, and Winslow, welcome to the Judge family. I appreciate all the support and love. All right. Speaking of barrel picks, so I should give a couple of updates. So, wow, we've had a lot of barrels released recently. For the most part, they're all pretty much sold out. We had an ASW released a couple weeks ago. I think there's like maybe 5 or 6 bottles left of that. We had a Knob Creek rye that released. I think there's maybe like 20 bottles left of that. But speaking of releases, there are some upcoming releases, and these are going to release, honestly, probably like, in order, like week 1, 2, 3, like starting this week. So first and foremost, we have a Driftless Glen, a rye, single barrel cask strength rye. This is a collaboration pick I did myself with the Bourbon Van, Phil and Julie, and my buddy Chris over at the Bourbon of the Week. That is releasing later this week coming up. And that rye, cask strength rye, was flat out ridiculous. Be on the lookout for that one. In a couple weeks, we also have Sagamore. So it's a Sagamore cask strength, also another rye. This was a collaboration pick with myself, my good friends Josh and Aaron over at Stuff and Whiskey, and also actually with Share Pour as well, with Jay from Share Pour. So a cool kind of collaboration there. And then last but not least, we have not 1, but 2 Russell Wild Turkey picks, I should say, Wild Turkey single barrels. We have a Russell single barrel releasing and a Kentucky Spirit, and that is a collaboration again with my good friends Josh and Aaron from Stuff and Whiskey, as well as with Trenton and Kurt from SLB Drinks. So we have 2 barrels coming later this month from Wild Turkey. So tons of barrel picks coming out. Really excited for these, for all these picks that are coming out. And catch me later this week. I'm going to do a live stream actually, where I kind of go ahead and just sample and dive into some of these new barrel picks that are coming out. That should be a little bit fun. All right, cool. Let's dive back into today's episode. So I'm going to give you, again, 5 whiskeys that I think you should be looking for. You want to be right at that $75 budget. You don't want to go a ton over, but you're also not looking for, that Evan Williams bottled and bond where it's like $20, right? You want something kind of in between. So I'm going to give you 5 different examples, plus the asterisk as well. Fair? All right. These are, by the way, not ranked in order. These are just 5 that I feel are great quality whiskey, and people sometimes overlook the quality of these whiskeys. Cool? All right. So, coming in the number 1 spot. Oh, man. This one, I think, is overlooked by a lot of people because when you think of whiskey, right, especially this day and age, what do you really think of? You always think of, Kentucky bourbon. You think of some very hot craft distilleries like 13th Colony, ASW, and while they are all phenomenal, there are some other smaller brands out there that are also equally amazing. So the number 1 for me is right here, this Blue Note Juke Joint. This is a cask strength whiskey coming out of Memphis. Great whiskey. I think I got this bottle for like $60. Actually, I had 2 of these. Still had the other one open, but this is the one that's unopened. This was like a $60 bottle. Absolutely flat out amazing. This one was actually a store pick from one of my local stores. I bought a couple bottles from them. Hence the reason why I will always have one in my backup, because the whiskey was just that good. I had a chance to taste it at the actual shop itself, and I loved it. Hence the reason why I bought a couple. But this one right here, a $65 bottle, Blue Note Juke Joint, add it to your list. If you're looking for something different, and less than $75. I've never seen them more than $75. And don't get me wrong, I understand when you're traveling all around, bourbon prices in one state is going to be different than the next state, but they should be somewhat within $5, $10, $15, maybe $20 in range for the most part. I've never seen this more than $75, so hopefully you won't either. All right, that's number 1. Blue Note, the Juke Joint, uncut, unfiltered, cast strength. Number 1. Number 2. This one might be a little bit of a surprise to you. However, this one here, Middle West Spirits. Oh man, the Dark Pumpernickel Rye Whiskey. Now this one is the small batch coming in at 96 proof. I actually just did a barrel pick with them that'll be in, it's not releasing right now, it'll be in a couple months. But Middle West Spirits out of Columbus, Ohio, their whiskey, especially this Dark Pumpernickel Rye, is flat out amazing. Do not sleep, especially if you want something that's like a lower proof point, not always cast strength. This one here, 96 proof. This is a $35, $37 bottle. Flat out amazing. I'm telling you, Ohio craft distilleries, they are on the map. If you haven't checked this out, make sure you grab this bottle. Less than 40 bucks, that's a win all day long. The judge needs a little bit of whiskey. I'm starting to get a little dry in the throat here. Hey, real quick, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know what are some other bottles that you think that are less than $75 that, you know, aren't like your standard whiskeys that you see each and every day that people should be looking for. You know, throw a little comment in there. And last but not least, please make sure you all subscribe to the channel. So by the way, a lot of people, you know, I was actually out in Kentucky, and several people came up to me like, Judge, we watch the channel all the time. However, we haven't subscribed. Come on, hit that subscribe button. Hook a brother up. All right. Cheers, everybody. Whew. This is delicious. And this is on the list, by the way. Coming up very soon. All right. Number 3 on the list. So you can find the standard 9-year, and you can find other products from them. But what I love about this brand is the fact of their single barrels. If you can get a really good single barrel, you will not go wrong. Always about $60, $65, definitely less than $75. This is a Knob Creek single barrel. This is from one of my local spots. So if you get a chance to check out Creston Liquors in Delaware, I don't know if they have any of these left, but if so, make sure you check them out. Absolutely amazing, amazing Knob Creek. This is a Knob Creek 120 proofer. Flat out amazing whiskey. Again, a lot of times people overlook, you know, Knob Creek because you see like the standard releases that they have. But if you can get a single barrel and you had a chance to sample it, which I had a chance to sample it before I bought it, it was flat out amazing. And I mean amazing. Knob Creek single barrel, 65 bucks. Number 3 on the list. Oh boy, number 4 and 5, and then we get to the asterisk. Here we go. Number 4. This is a brand that I personally do not talk about a lot on the channel. Not because I don't like the brand. I actually love their whiskey. I just only have 1 bottle of it, so a little bit harder to find. But if you can find it, it's typically right at about $70, $75. Fun story, I had a Patron meetup down in DC, and I tried this bottle at Jack Rose's dining in saloon, right? The bar down there in DC, the huge bourbon bar in DC, right? Biggest whiskey library probably on, you know, east of the Mississippi, if you will. Huge. This whiskey was so good. First time I saw it in the liquor store, I bought a bottle of it. A single barrel. This is Mackenzie whiskey out of, this is actually Finger Lakes Distilling out of New York. So Finger Lakes Distilling out of New York. This is a single barrel, 7 years, coming in at exactly 100.1 proof. Love that, by the way. Flat out amazing. And that is, by the way, what the judge is sipping. So a $75 bottle, flat out amazing. For my local Delaware folks, hit me up via email and I'll let you know exactly where you can probably still find this bottle. It's a secret. Shh. But you gotta be local. All right, so that's number 4. Coming in the number 5 spot. Oh boy. Man, the number 5 spot. So this is a single barrel as well. So you see the key here, right? The key here a lot of times is find really good single barrels from a lot of your local shops that you truly trust the managers or the owners' palates. We've had them before in the past. As long as you've had them in the past, more than likely you can trust them in the future. So this is another single barrel that I got from one of my local stores. But honestly, this brand is a well-known brand, but this actual store, they always do a great job with single barrels. This one comes in about $70, $75. If you can't get this one, like I said earlier, I just did a single barrel with them myself for my Patron group. This is Russell's Reserve. So Russell's Reserve private single barrel. These bottles are just, they're just epic. I mean, come on, really? We're talking about Wild Turkey, the Russell's family. I mean, they put their foot into whiskey. Seriously? Seriously. I don't think I've ever had a bad Russell's Reserve single barrel. Can't wait for my pick to come out in a couple weeks. But this one right here is absolutely amazing. All right. At the end of the road, but we still have the asterisk. So, Judge, what is the asterisk and why? Wow. That Mackenzie from Finger Lakes Distilling is amazing. So, my asterisk is a brand that a lot of people know, but I think people are still kind of deciding whether or not they love it, like it, or just, you know, trying to figure out as a whole. What's cool about this bottle is that locally by me, here in Delaware, Maryland area, I've seen their prices drop from like the high 80s down to the low 70s, even actually in the 60s in some occasions. There are a few stores by us in the Delaware, Maryland area that are selling their whiskey in the 60s. However, typically, if you're in most places, you're probably going to find it for like the 70s, maybe even like low 80s. And that's the reason why I'm putting it in the asterisk category, because it might be a couple of dollars more than 75. You might find it locally by you, for example, in Georgia or out west, $80 to $85. But at least in the Northeast, we're finding it on sale quite often, and I think it's because people don't know what to think about this brand. However, their bourbons and their ryes, while it's source whiskey, it is flat out amazing. If you've not tried it before, make sure you try it sooner than later. Nashville Barrel Company. Now, this is a single barrel rye, but make sure you check out the Nashville Barrel Company single barrel ryes and bourbons. All of them are flat out amazing. And if by chance you are lucky enough to get a single barrel of their rum, oh man, whew, now we're talking business. But seriously though, the bourbon and the rye, flat out amazing. Hey friends, until the next time, peace, cheers, salute. Be on the lookout, a couple of days coming up, that live stream where I'm going to go through a tasting of all my upcoming barrel picks. Until the next time, cheers everybody. See you later.